Welcome back to The Rosy Romantic. I'm Bree, and today we're talking about the enemies to lovers trope. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. Also, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe because we like talking all things romance here. So grab your drinks, grab your snacks, and let's chat. This story right here is very Jane Austen-esque, okay? And these two characters will just are very captivating. Katie and Hubble. The way we were.
Oh my god, oh my goodness, oh my god! I knew this was coming, oh my god, oh my goodness!
We're talking Barbara Streisand and Robert Redford. Y'all, this right here, chemistry off the charts. The first time I was watching this, I was like, this, again, magic on screen, and your heart is literally glowing because the way they're looking at each other. Like they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing, and it tells a story of love and politics. And this is what Jane Austen did also really well, of having her main leads and heroines really having a voice and speaking out. This is what is really done really well in Pride and Prejudice and Sensibility. But you know what we could do, you know, at that time. But then this progresses into the story that takes place in the early 1940s, okay? And Katie is a real advocate for social rights and social causes. And she's very anti-war, and she's very vocal about that. She's not holding back. She's like, look, she's, you know, a student at university, and just because she's at university and she's like, oh, I have to do my studies and, do all these things, that I have to be silent. She's like, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm going to be a part of this narrative and story. Yeah, like Eliza, like Eliza Hamilton. Okay, so when she's at university, okay, guess who she meets? Hubble, okay, and Hubble, I'm gonna tell you right now, oh my goodness, if I saw him on campus, I'd be like,
I just love to look at him.
Me too.
Your Majesty.
Now one fine day, this man named Hubble, okay, is arriving on the scene. And Hubble, I'm gonna tell you, it's one fine man, okay, on that one fine day, he sees Katie. And Katie sees him, and she's like, she agrees with me, this is one fine man. And she's trying, still do her social causes, she's protesting. She's like, yeah, peace and stuff. And she's looking over like, oh my goodness, that man is fine. But hold on, she's like, let me not get distracted because I gotta focus, okay? But she keeps seeing this man on campus, and he is charismatic, he's very sweet, he's very suave, okay? This man is smooth. And every time she sees him, she's like, I'm just trying to gain my composure. But the only thing is, this man really doesn't care about politics. Uh-oh. And here's Katie, and she's all for social causes and speaking out. But at the time when they're meeting, they are at the senior prom and the dance, and this chemistry is just amazing, okay? It is off the charts, and like they're blushing and they're giggling, they're having fun and stuff. But at the same time, there is all these things of politics looming over them, okay, in their story. And once at the senior prom, when his friends are having disagreements with her, because they're like, she's that weird girl that does protests and stuff and social change. Whoa, Luther, man. I'm like, first of all, we ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that because Katie's she's trying to promote peace and rights and civil rights. Okay, that's what she's doing. Okay, they wrong for that. So they go their separate ways. All right. So this is all the premise. You see how well done and crafted the story is? Like, oh my goodness, like Barbara Streisand, like y'all don't even know. Y'all need to, like, if you haven't watched any of her movies and listen to her song, listen, watch and listen.
And that's right.
So then, okay, come closer. After the senior prom, they went their separate ways, okay? At the end of World War II, okay, they meet back together again. And Hubble was a naval officer. And then in the meantime, Katie, she's still doing in the work. You know, she's still trying to promote social change. She's doing everything she can. You know, she's just, you know, she's working. And when they meet back up together, okay, he's still like just enamored by her, even though he doesn't agree with, you know, all the politics and things. He's just loves the passion and vigor she has for life. And she is the same. They do not meet eye to eye on politics. No, they do not agree on that, but they begin to fall in love, okay? And that's where I'm gonna set, you know, the story, the premise, but y'all have to see this, because when you're talking about enemies to lovers, like, they did not agree, okay? And they kind of slowly go from like enemies to friends to lovers, and it is this constant back and forth in this movie, and it's just this life happening, and you're trying to see both, you know, having love in your life and trying to balance all the things about that's going on in the world. How does your, you know, relationship evolve, and how, you know, does everything go about it? And it is just, it's really captivating and heartbreaking and heartwarming, and the performances are outstanding, okay? And I'm gonna tell you, everyone talks about like fashion, you know, for When Harry Met Sally. Look at the fashion in this movie right here. Okay, look at the sweaters, the everything about this film, okay? But especially, yeah, the chemistry, the fashion, the cinematography, I could go on and on. But when we're talking about enemies to lovers, this needs to be in the conversation.
That is what I said, yes.
If you love all things Queen Charlotte, Scandal, yeah, the whole Bridgerton series, anything from the brilliant mind of Shonda Rhimes, then you're going to love Still Star-Crossed. And let me set up the premise for you, because not a lot of people know about this show, but this appeared on ABC, I believe, like in like, I want to say like 2014, 2013, somewhere there. I could be wrong, but I do remember this show and how I was upset, and my sister and I were upset that this show didn't get a second season. But this focuses on the Montagues and the Capulets. Yes, we're talking about Romeo and Juliet. And sadly, this is the, you know, the end of their story, okay? If you don't know the Shakespearean play of Romeo and Juliet, I strongly encourage you to watch that or read that first, because we are going to get a little spoilers for that, but not for the rest, you know, of the show. I'm just gonna set it up for you. But following, okay, the tragic end of Romeo and Juliet, yeah, they were madly in love, but then their families, ooh.
And you estimate the value of everything that was taken?
Emotionally, $700 million.
Because their families hated each other. And when I mean hate, I mean hate. Okay, they hated each other. So when, sadly, that Romeo and Juliet passed, we have Rosalind and Benvolio that are proposed to wed one another. Now, Rosalind is a Capulet. She was the cousin of Juliet. Benvolio is a Montague, and he was the cousin of Romeo. So the families, because of, you know, this tragedy, they're like, you know what, we should make peace and, you know, join the families together. So, you know, we'll have Rosalind marry Benvolio. And Rosalind is like, no, because this whole time they have this whole family history of not liking the Montagues, you know, hating the Montagues, you know, and I wish we could, you know, cover more about their family history and story, because that's just rough. Like, for years and years and years, you were taught this. And Benvolio is saying the same thing about the Capulets. He's like, I don't like them because, you know, they treated our family wrong, and look what happened to Romeo and Juliet. Like, why would I want to be a part of, you know, this family and story? But the family say, anyway, let's come together and, you know, have this union. But, okay, while that's going on, there are definitely some family members that don't agree. And both the Capulets and the Montagues, they're like, they don't want this wedding to happen. Okay, so they're going to have to face this as they're, you know, going through their engagement. And again, they really do not like each other, so they are true enemies. Okay, True Lovers, and it is such a really good, interesting story. The two that play Rosalind and Benolio, they are Lysana Lynch and Wade Briggs, and they do a fantastic job because, you know, they were all there to support Romeo and Juliet, but once, you know, everything happened and they saw the two families, you know, at odds, they were just like, no, you know, I'm sticking with my family. I'm not dealing with you. And then the moment they have to work together, they're like, oh snap. Like I don't want to, you know, be involved in this because I think we have a lot more in common than we, you know, didn't think before. And now I think we may be falling in love.
Shut your mouth. I'm having a vision. I can dig it.
This is really enemies to lovers, and it has excellent dialogue because Sandra Rhimes, you all heard the quotes of Queen Charlotte. Like, that's just a masterpiece. But, you know, if you want to see just more great romance, then this is the show for you. Still star-crossed. You know, put that on your watch list right now. Next up, we have a series that's coming back in November, and that is Maxton Hall. Okay, and if you haven't seen Maxton Hall, I'm gonna give you the premise so that you're caught up with season 1 and you can watch season 2, because we are gonna talk about it here on the channel, okay? Because this Enemies to Lovers is really good. All right, so this is a German series, and here we have Ruby Bell. Ruby Bell is a very smart, hardworking student, and she goes on a scholarship to this private school. So that way, you know, one day she wants to go to Oxford University. I'm like, you know, good for you, girl. You know, she has her dreams and her goals. And lo and behold, she runs into this guy named James.
And I am super excited to meet him. Yeah, that was sarcasm.
And James is a spoiled rich brat. Okay, he really is. And at the beginning, I'm like, oh, his like arrogance, and he's just like, you know, very narcissistic. Like, no, okay. And she can't stand him. But one day, it's always that one day, Ruby finds out something shocking about James's sister. And James hears about this, and he's like, you know, I can't have this secret go out because this could ruin, you know, my sister's, you know, career at school. I don't want that. So let me go up to Ruby and say, hey, how much do you want to, you know, you don't tell the secret? She's like, are you really trying to pay me off? Like, the nerve of this man. And then he's like, oh, if you don't want that, then you can date me. Why would I want to date you if you like this? No, and he really thinks like, I'm all that, you know, maybe that's what she wants. And she's like, you know what? I'm gonna keep the secret because, you know, I don't want to be dealing with, you know, all that drama. But you ain't gonna pay me off, and I'm definitely not gonna date you because, you know, why would I even want to? Because, you know, so that way you'd be like, oh, since, you know, we went on a date, then you have to keep the secret. She's like, you know, just, you know, I don't have time for you. But James is still scared by this because he sees this as a threat. And it's very low stakes in this, because I'm like, okay, if that secret did come out, yes, he may have to go to another school, okay? Because it's, you know, very, I mean, the relationship that she's in, that's bad, but the stakes of this are not like, you know, life and death and things. So here he goes and says, you know what? She has an event coming up, this charity event that she's running, and I'm gonna sabotage it.
Is Sabo short for sabotage, Schmidt?
Why would you say that? You know it. Of course you knew it. You know it
to
is.
Get dominance in this moment.
Like the jerk he is, he does. And I can't believe at the beginning, look, y'all, I can't stand him. I can't stand him, but I understand this. Again, this is an enemies to lovers. So he goes and sabotages this thing. And then they both get in trouble. You know, it's all, you know, it always is that someone causes the trouble, you're trying to, you know, confront the person, and then right when you're confronting the person that did this wrong to you, that you both get in trouble. And so they go to the principal, and the principal's like, look, you're gonna have to work together on this new school dance that's coming up, and you all have to figure this out. Because they have to work together for the school dance event, they get to know each other. They get closer and closer. And guess what? Enemies to lovers. And again, if you haven't seen season 1, you need to watch season 1. You need to watch season 1 because in the beginning, again, you will not like James. I can guarantee it, you will not like James. He is a brat, okay? But you get to see his character evolve, and you also get to see Ruby's character evolve and be, you know, more confident and, you know, sure of herself, and that James is more open and communicative, and it's a really good show, y'all. Like, tune in for season 1 and season 2. Look, it's gonna be good. I think it's on Amazon Prime. Now this story right here, to me, is the most enemies to lovers story that there has ever been, because these two characters are real enemies to lovers. Like, they absolutely hate each other, okay? Like, they have threats, and this is just, it's dangerous. We're talking about Catherine and Peter from The Great. If you haven't seen The Great, I'm gonna give you the premise, but this is just insane to me how the writing does so well, and they absolutely hate each other to evolving love over time. Because sometimes, really, mostly in enemies to lovers, it is usually contentious friends to lovers. And most of the things that we're talking about in this video is contentious friends to lovers. But to actually just hate, straight up hate the person, and then it evolves into love. This is wild. And Elle Fanning and Nicholas Hoult, it's a phenomenal job, because I really still can't comprehend how they were able to do this.
Wow, you guys are like rubbing alcohol. You sting me in the now, but you save me in the later.
Let's talk about the start of the story. So here we have Catherine, and she marries Emperor Peter III in Russia, and so she thinks this is going to be a, you know, kind of a fairy tale. They're going to rule as emperor and empress. But Emperor Peter III, okay, has some messed up views on how to rule his country. And once he sees that, you know, the empress is so, you know, bright and full of life, and she wants to help, and she wants, you know, to help people of their country, he doesn't want that. He's like, no, like, women talking, ruling, that, I'm not about that. I'm not about that. So he begins to, you know, hate her and what she stands for, and he wants her out. And he doesn't want her just out. He wants her out, okay? But Catherine does everything she can, so that way she's like, you know what? I'm here, and I'm staying here, and I also want to, you know, help with the, you know, the betterness and brightness of this future for this country, and I'm not leaving. And I'm like, okay. I said, girl, she is not going down without a fight. And somehow for Peter, he admires this, and this is what he loves about her. And for him and her going like toe to toe, there's basically this whole chess game of their relationship, and this is what they love about one another. Like, they can't stand each other. They literally hate each other, but because they continue to, you know, fight and be at odds, that this is what grows the love. It is wild. So if you like dark comedy, like Succession and things, then this show is for you. If not, and you're just a rom-com person, something light and, you know, happy, this show is not for you, and that is okay, all right? And multiple times in the show, I had to take breaks and watch something else, because I was like, all right, this is a little too heavy, even though they're, you know, it's funny, haha. It is a dark comedy, all right? Like The Bear, okay? There's some funny, haha, and then all of a sudden it gets dark.
What are you, Lamaze breathing? It helps.
Next up, we have a little spooky enemies to lovers with Vampire Academy, and that was the one that came out in 2022. I love this. For me, I did not read the books. I'm gonna be honest, I did not read the books. I did not see the movies and things, but I heard a lot of good things about, you know, this romance between Rose and Dimitri. Now, I'm gonna give you the premise. They only had one season, unfortunately, but I would definitely rewatch the season, especially, you know, for the, you know, the Halloween spooky vibes and things. This was really good.
It's a bit camp, but we'll go with it.
So we have the premise this, you know, this royalty of vampires and things. And because of this, you know, royalty of vampires, that they need protection. So they need bodyguards. And so one of the bodyguards slash humans is Rose. And she's in training to, you know, protect this royal family. And I'm like, okay, all right, you got me already with the bodyguard trope. I was like, okay, so we have that and an enemies to lovers, because she meets Dimitri, and Dimitri's, you know, one of the head trainer people. And Dimitri, seeing how Rose is very, you know, passionate, and she, you know, willing to work, and she's hardworking. We have the classic dynamic that she's trying all that she can in this class, and she's really hardworking, and Dimitri's like, yeah, whatever, like everybody else is hardworking, like you gotta do better. And Rose is like, I can't stand him because I'm being the absolute best and you keep saying that I'm not. And for, you know, for him, you know, training that is supposed to make her better because he's not saying she's the best, whatever. But since they are now becoming enemies, she's going to, you know, prove him in the class. She's like, you know what, I'm going to show him. I'm going to show him that I'm going to be the best bodyguard of these vampires. That sentence sounds crazy. But it's, yeah, in the show it's very fantastical. And she does a great job in doing this. And then you see the progression of their relationship, because now they are both bodyguards for this royal family. But it's very hard to be bodyguards in this relationships, because you have to protect these people. Well, they're not people, they're vampires. It's very hard to do that when you're doing this intense job. So can their relationship survive it through it all? You have to find out. And the chemistry is so good, because in this one scene, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but Rose is at this club, right? And she, you know, she's celebrating with her bodyguard team. And while she's up there, she's dancing and she's having fun. She's trying to show Dimitri, she's like, you know, look, you know how cute I am. I'm doing this bodyguard thing and I don't need you. But while all that's going on, she, you know, she's going through something. And while she's going through something, she loses her balance. And so when she loses her balance, who is there to catch her? Who is there to catch her? Tell me right now. Dimitri. Dimitri's there to catch her. And I'm like, oh my goodness, they got me. They got me.
She's got a point.
Up next, we have one of my favorite movies to watch in the fall, and that is Ella Enchanted. This movie is so good. I remember seeing it in the theaters when it first came out, and I was with my family and I saw this movie and I was just so excited about cinema. I was like, this is one of the best things ever. I hadn't read the book, but you know what? I need to go back and read the book, because I hear that is really good. But when I saw, you know, Ella, you know, in her story, I'm gonna talk about the premise of this, but like I was just in the movies going like, this is incredible, and I will, you know, forever remember that moment and the moment I fell in love with this film. So here we have Ella, little baby Ella, and she lives in a fantastical world. Okay, this is not the real world, this is very fantastical. And so she gets a gift from a fairy godmother, and the gift is the gift of obedience.
Life isn't fair, let's teach them that from the off.
Not the gift of like invisibility or flight or anything like that. None of the things from The Incredibles, the invisibility. No, we get the gift of obedience. Yeah, quite the gift. So she is, everything that she is told she has to do. Okay, like anything they're like, you know, go get that plate over there. She's like, okay, let me go get the plate. Or, you know, make dinner right now. She has to go make dinner. Like this is not a great gift. And so when her mother falls ill, when she's I think 7 or 8, she tells her, don't tell anyone of this gift because they can use it against you. So the only people that know about this gift are her aunt and the fairy godmother that gave her the gift. So when we get to her story, I believe she's now like 19 or 20, somewhere in that age range, that she is very tries to be outspoken and, you know, help people with, you know, social change and things, because she cannot do that for herself. So she's trying to do that for others. And this is where we meet Prince Charmant or Prince Char. And Prince Char really thinks that he's like, you know, I'm ready to, you know, help lead the kingdom. I'm very excited about that, very hopeful and optimistic. And we would think that he's like a spoiled brat because, you know, he's rich and he's royalty and things, but he's really not. He's just blissfully unaware of all the things that are going on in the kingdom and the politics of it all. And when he meets Ella, she confronts him on that, being like, you really don't know what's going on. Like, you really need to talk to the people. You need to be involved. You cannot just pretend that everything's fine, everything's, you know, okay. And it is good to be optimistic, but it's also good to be informed. And this is where, you know, their story begins for, you know, Prince Char and Ella and their stories, because yeah, it's much more than the romance, but the romance is there and it helps Ella on her journey, and also her friends and her family. Like, there, you know, there's a lot, you know, going on for her, but it is really about finding her voice and being able to, you know, stand up for herself and what she believes in. So if you haven't seen Ella Enchanted, I highly encourage that you see it and read the book, because this is really good. And I'm gonna have to read the book for myself, because like this right here, I love this story. So let me know in the comments down below what you thought about these movies and TV shows. What would you recommend? And I hope you have a comfy and cozy rest of your day. Bye!